Weighted dips to start off Tuesday morning. Total load 277 pounds, 8 consecutive repetitions. Weighted dips are no joke. We're developing some serious pressing strength, incorporating these as a primary pressing variation. Then we ran the back offs, 249.5 pounds for total loading. 4 sets of 8 to 10, not because I intended to do 10, but because I clearly can't count if I'm not adequately caffeinated. And on the final set, I lost count not once for 1 repetition, but twice for 2 extra repetitions. Fortunately, it was my final set and it didn't compromise my performance on following sets because there were no sets to follow. Then we went into some high volume lat pull downs with the wide grip attachment. I definitely got a pump here. Look how symmetrical those pull downs are. I know I sound like a broken record with that, but it's so encouraging to be able to do those properly. Again, then we got some upright rows, building those traps to the best of our ability. 3 sets of 15 here, just a small linear progression. And then we've got the lying tricep extensions. Really building those triceps, likely why I've earned the name on TikTok of the triceps technician. We're just trying to put mass on the back of those arms like nobody's business because you can never ever have enough triceps. It's kind of cool to do these with this much weight as well, I would like to point out, but it will be even cooler when we can do these with a big 45 on each side of the bar. That is going to be a big day. Finished off with a little bit of pump chasing here. We've got the thick handles on the dumbbells, 2 sets of 25 repetitions with some moderately heavy weight, and that wraps up Tuesday's training session. And come leg day, we're officially getting a little bit wild. 310 on the SSB for 8 consecutive reps, and I'd have to double check, but I know I've said in the past that my SSB is quickly catching up on my barbell back squat, and I think this might be the week where we could have possibly surpassed it. If not, it's neck and neck. Wild to think that this is how my squats are unfolding. My SSB, which used to be dismal, is passing my barbell squat, which is in part due to the fact that I haven't been prioritizing top end sets on the squat, but rather building out the volume as per execution across working sets. So it makes sense that this could happen within reason, but I just didn't expect it to be my reality this soon in the game. Encouraging though, because I'm evidently getting much stronger overall. 2 back off sets on the SSB, felt confident all the way through. Depth was consistent. I'm encouraged. And then into some rack pulls. Bars positioned just below the knee. We've got 500 pounds on the bar and managed to clear that 500 pounds for a top end set of 8 repetitions. I'm probably going to have some serious trap development going on here with these heavy rack pulls. Even my triceps are trying to tear through the sleeves. That's how intense these top end pulls turned out to be. As soon as the rack pulls were complete, you'll notice that I did my best to execute these with consistent quality of form as per a dead stop, pulling purposely from that dead stop and not bouncing off of the straps and allowing that momentum to set in. And I can tell you that pulling from a dead stop is exhausting. Very, very exhausting. Finished off this lower body session with some good old reverse hyperextensions, running that linear progression. And you know what's interesting about the reverse hyperextension is I'm feeling like I'm actually getting better at these overall, such that every time I add more weight, I'm like, you know what? Next week is probably going to be a little bit easier. And Saturday, my goodness, the strength was on point. 166 pounds on the overhead press for a top end set of 6 repetitions. Feeling incredibly confident under the strict press. But let me tell you, that final repetition, I felt like I was going down. There was a little bit of struggle there, and then the back off work actually felt more difficult than the primary set. By the time set 3 and 4 came around, I was just about spent. Check out that calf development too, as I maintain a stable position under the bar. Pretty good. We'll take it. Some close grip pull downs here. A little bit too much body English for my liking, but generally strict. Stacking up the weight here, climbing my way down the stack. Encouraging to finally be getting strong again on these pull downs. And then from here went into the wide grip Swiss bar bench press, added a few pounds on, managed to clear 3 sets at 12 to 15. Felt like I had quite a bit more in the tank, but was able to maintain those high reps across all working sets, so that was a point of encouragement. And then we've got the Graham Guillotine Extension, the new variation. Enjoying this one. Definitely hammered the triceps. Got the 25s on the bar for the first time, so that was a bit of a milestone. And then finished off this training session with some good old barbell curls in the squat rack, because as per the unwritten rules of the weight room, it's acceptable to do so if you happen to own the rack, which I do. Sunday was a bit of a sad day. My legs were very, very sore by the end of this training session. I don't know what it is about lunges. As much as I love them, they never seem to treat me with any respect in return. 213 pounds for 6 repetitions per leg. Felt like I was doing 15 to 20 rep sets the way that lactic acid was building up. By the end of the first set, this is unreasonable. And then the back off sets just added to the discomfort. Although, a point of pride was such that my back off work was executed above 185 pounds. That was encouraging, to say the least. Here we go with 191.5 pounds for 2 sets of 6 reps per leg respectively. And I would like to point out that I'm generally concerned about what will happen when I add a third back off set, in consideration of the relative discomfort that I will be subjecting myself to. And as soon as we were done with the lunges, we moved on to some trap bar deadlifts using the high handle position. 475 pounds on the bar. So close to 500. I've done north of 500, but so close to doing more than 500 for so many repetitions. But 6 repetitions is still quite a few to be pulling that close to 500 with, so I was pleased with my performance here. And to be completely honest, I felt like I had a little bit left in the tank. Not so much that I probably would have been able to pull any more than 1 extra rep, but it's always a point of encouragement when your final repetition does not feel like absolute death. And then, of course, what did feel like death, or was just generally disappointing, was my attempts at hang cleans again. They've made a return. They'll be here for a little while, but interestingly enough, as the weight gets heavier, it tends to look a little bit more reasonable.